more new plants, mosses, and a plant update. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Rose. My pronouns are she, her, and in today's video we're going to plant some more plants and I'm going to show you an update on the terrarium. This is part 3 of the terrarium videos. If you want to see the earlier parts, check them out here. The first thing I want to show you is the plants that we're going to plant today. You see these plastic baggies here? Some of these plants and some mosses have been in there for 2 weeks almost, because I simply didn't have either time or energy or daylight to do this next part. And actually today I still have quite a lot of headaches. It is a long process with post-concussion syndrome, but I'm not giving up hope. It is still improving, just very, very slowly. Random health update right there. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. It's really helpful if you do that at the start of the video. Let's go look at the plants. There's some adorable new begonias that we're gonna add today and some ferns. Lots of mosses. In here, some tradescantia and also more begonias. And then I also bought or got a few more. I got this from Kakiaki, a little Begonia amphioxus. This one I already put in the soil because it was very sad. I'll show you in a moment. That's a Relia macoyana. And this little margravia as well. The fern that I planted at the top, which you saw in the previous video, actually dried up completely. It was very, very sad after that video. But I planted it at the bottom just really quickly and immediately it started to recover. Look at these beautiful leaves that are healthy again. I didn't think it would ever come back to life. So that is amazing. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Let's take these out first. There we go. We have many different tradescantia cuttings that have been rooting already in this bag. I want to try and put these on the floor cover for now because the begonias that I have in mind to buy and plant, the shops that sell begonias actually do not send them right now because it's too cold. So these are all different types of tradescantia. I don't know the names of them. I got them from a friend as a gift. Look how pretty the shine. Very cool. And I think these will grow quite quickly to cover the bottom and make it look a little bit more full for now. And if I need to, I can always cut them back for when the begonias arrive. I don't know what this is. I think it's some kind of tradescantia as well. This little one. And then I also have 2 begonias in here. I don't know the names of these because they were just gifts, but little shimmery leaves. 2 pieces of that one. And this one was actually I think it was like a weed in that person's greenhouse. So I got it with this as well. It's very small, so I hope we can plant it somewhere where we can see it. Speaking of begonias, this is the Milano Bellata that I bought in the video with Wilco at Hoya. So if you want to check that video, you can see it here. A tour of greenhouses where normal people are not allowed normally. So I felt very lucky. I think I'm going to plant this in the terrarium as well, even though it will get quite big. The other bag, I needed 2 hands to take plants out, but it has this begonia. I think it's Thelmae, which is like a crawler. You can see how much it rooted in the 2 weeks that it was in the bag. It's very, very beautiful. I really love this one. Then we have a little fern, which looks like an orchid almost, which was a weed also at the place that I got it from. I don't know what this is, but it's growing and rooting, so that's interesting. I wonder what that is. See? Interesting, interesting. This is a beautiful little margravia that came with its own patch of moss already because that's how it was growing. So we can just place the moss with the margravia and let it grow from there. Should be quite cool. Then we have these ferns, which look very small right now, and they were another weed in the place that I got them from. But these can get very long, and when you plant them a little bit higher up, it will look like a bunch of hair almost hanging down, if that makes sense. The last bag contained big pieces of tropical moss. Look how cool. So this can be potted either on the bottom, planted. Sorry, I keep saying potted, but there's no pot in there. Or maybe on, I would love to grow this on pieces of the back wall and stuff. I just don't know if it will have enough moisture in there, which I will talk about a little bit later. There is a little, I think it's a St. Paulia growing in there. And then this is some live sphagnum moss that we're gonna try and continue growing. And then this is a type of moss as well that I'm gonna try and continue growing, but that one is not so easy. Before we plant in any more, I want to show you some updates as well, because my little silver dragon has made a new leaf, which is already quite a lot bigger than the previous ones. I think it likes it in here. Also, Aglaonema is opening a new leaf. This one is new on the Frydek. Was a little bit worried because this place, when the fogger is on, it seems to get quite wet. Like the leaves get wet and they stay wet quite a long time. But so far, they still look very happy, so that's okay. Brontianum making a new leaf here. Can you see the little growth point? Still alive, so that's good. So this Ruellia Makoyana I got, and I just planted it in here, and it immediately bounced back, which is awesome. But it definitely will need a different spot maybe, or I don't know. I don't know yet. I planted this blue fern in the bottom as well. It was in the wall, but the wall was way too dry, guys. Don't do what I did. In here, I actually had an interesting thing happen. Do you see the little sticks? Those were mushrooms that grew within one day, basically. They became super big. They were ink caps, black ink caps, and then they died back again. And I think it happened from this piece of wood, which seems to be, see, so there's some algae and stuff there as well. And I don't think it's bad, but it's very fascinating to see that that happened so quickly. We have some melano propagations in here that got a little bit too wet. Ooh, falling. So I don't know, I think I'll put this in my other terrarium, actually, my prop box terrarium. These guys seem to be doing quite well. I actually learned that this is the mini Vanda orchid. There's a special name for it, I forgot, but I didn't know it was that before, so that's quite cute. Queen is still doing well. She looks okay. She doesn't look sad. On this side, the Calatheas are actually also opening new leaves, which is fascinating and interesting. Got a lot of questions about this Peperomia. It's Peperomia Green Bubble. That's how I bought it anyway. This little leaf is new on the Silver Blush Anthurium. It's very, very shimmery. It's beautiful. And Forgetti has a new leaf over here. It is a little bit damaged on that side, but it's so cute, and I hope it will grow nice and big next to his brothers. Even with the fogger, it's been quite hard to keep the humidity up in here and like at a steady pace. So I started spraying the wall every day, every morning with lukewarm water, and that seems to be helping a lot. It still gets dry at the end of the day, but at least once a day everything gets really nice and humid in here. So then hopefully I don't have to change the water in the fogger every 2 days, because there's only 2 liters in that one and I had to change it very often. In order to keep that balance, I actually bought this little thing. Can you see it? It is a hygrostat and thermostat. That means that when the humidity gets below 70, it automatically switches on the fogger. And I actually bought this on AliExpress, and this brand specifically came highly recommended by a friend of mine who builds terrariums. You can see it's a little bit below 70 right now because I switched the fogger off, but we'll fix that after we're done planting. And I have something else to install that will help the warmth. So when it gets below, for example, 20 degrees, it will switch on the heat source and then it will make it warmer. So super, super handy thing. Something else that I bought to help the terrarium is a osmosis system, which is gonna help purify our water, and then we can use that water in the terrarium so we don't get the calcium on the glass like I have in my smaller terrarium. This was actually surprisingly affordable, about 70 euros. And it's gonna be absolutely necessary for my next project after the big terrarium. I'm super excited. I already have some stuff prepared for project number 2. That's still a secret. If you wanna leave guesses below what it's gonna be, I'm so excited. Some more updates. The black velvet also grew a new leaf, so that's doing really well. And Gigas looks like it's also gonna grow a leaf. So overall, everything is growing and looking alive, which is awesome. Ooh, there's actually one more plant, 2 more plants that I bought, but haven't showed you yet. Look at this beauty from orchids.nl. I bought this a while back together with one other plant, but unfortunately that already rotted from probably too much water. I had them down there and it was getting too wet. So the whole stem broke off. I'm now trying to root that again in the small terrarium with a little bit more heat from below. But this one survived, so we're also gonna plant that. I'm thinking on here somewhere, because this one also does well on the stems. And I might actually take some more cuttings of these from my other terrarium, because some of them have gotten very, very big. And I think they would love growing on the bottom here more than in the small terrarium. Let's start with planting the big Milano Bollata, because that is a big pot. By the way, that's such a fun word to say, Milano Bollata. I was thinking it could go back here. These hairy mosses, I think maybe we can put on the back wall like this. And it doesn't have to be super planted, I think. It can just be pushed in between the rocks. Can you see? I hope you can see. Next to this nice guy. There we go. I have quite a few pieces of this, so we're just gonna stick some everywhere. It doesn't want to get too dry, but that's okay now that I'm spraying, hopefully. Although, look, this one is very dried out. I'll just push it in between. Whole terrarium is moving. It kind of looks like grass on the back wall, which I actually love, so this is fun. We're gonna try one piece at the top, but I know that this is not super smart because it gets really dry, even though I sprayed this morning. Can you hear how dry that is already? So I'll have to keep an eye on this little guy at the top, but who knows? It would look very cool as a little hair hanging down. This is kind of why I didn't film the planting on the last video, because literally I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying something out and then that's the thing that I'm going with. So I'm sticking this in between the rocks here. Reggie's in the way, but I'll show you in a moment. Sticking it in there, a little bit more of a shaded spot. Maybe it likes that better. So we have some options and then it's planted. And that's basically how I did all of them, so why I didn't film much of it. I think we'll try the last few pieces on one of the branches, so I'll do that in a sec because I need 2 hands to tie some pantyhose around to hold them in place. I put this one on this more vertical. Let's see how that grows. And actually I wanted to put these ferns on this one somewhere. I think that will look very cute, maybe down here, so it catches some of the light. And this is on a piece of fern tree bark, fern tree fibers. I think I need to put some moss behind it to keep it moist enough, and then we'll just tie it up on the branch. I definitely needed all of my hands to plant this, but I hope it's gonna grow. I really like the look of this little fern. It looks very adorable. Let's try this guy in one of the corners like this, maybe? What do you think? This is how I do it. I just look, maybe this one. Look and try, and then that's it. So it's not very professional at all. I wonder if it gets too much light up here. Maybe a little bit lower. Ooh, I like that. The difference with the 2 types of orchids. I think I'm gonna try here. Next, I'm gonna plant this one because I don't want to leave it out of the terrarium for too long because it's quite cold and not very humid here. Or maybe I'm just gonna put it there for now. That's maybe safer. Ooh, update on the other begonia. I got this beautiful Chlorosticta from a friend and it died back almost completely, but now it's making a new leaf. I might also plant that in there because I heard with a little bit more space around the roots, it might do better. And this was the little Amphioxus that she sent me, but that didn't survive. Oh, while we're here at the Hoya shelf, by the way, a lot of people have been asking why there are no Hoyas in there yet. And that is simply because I don't know what it's doing yet, and I will definitely plant Hoyas. I'm thinking more at the top because they will get a little bit more dry and Hoyas deal with that a little bit better. But I want to make sure that it's stable before I plant more stuff that can possibly die. By the way, this guy is growing. This guy is making lots of flowers. This is a little Hushkaliana, and this is just my favorite part of my shelves right now. Viola looking stunning. Just all the different patterns and colors. I love it so much. Good job, Hoyas. I love you. Back to the terrarium. This one is a Margravia that is actually really shimmery and beautiful when you look up close. This was rooted in soil. You'll see a lot of fungus gnats. I am about to also pour in some Entonem to kill them, hopefully. And that's nematodes. Where shall we plant this? Because I have one here already, hopefully gonna grow up. This thing. I think it would prefer to stay in the soil, and this one is gonna grow on the moss. So we have quite a few Margravia options. And like I said, the ones that I planted on the wall, not doing ideally well. So maybe just at the bottom here somewhere. I think I'm gonna pot this at the other side because I have a few small Margravia on this side already. This is how I planted the little Margravias on this side, so they can climb up the little piece of cork. And this one, this is Rhaphidophora cryptantha. I'm gonna plant both on this one and one of these because I saw it growing on a big tree or something and it was beautiful. So we're gonna just tie those up with a bit of moss on the sticks as well. This is what they look like tied up. There's one there and one there. Wasn't the easiest, but I think it's working. Actually, this Margravia is growing a lot at the bottom, I just noticed. See, there's a new branch right there. Go up, my friend, go up. We have some ferns to go back in somewhere to make this bioactive. I already put some springtails in, but I think I'm also gonna try and put some isopods in, pissebedden, because I think that would be very cool. Maybe in a darker spot, because not all plants can grow this dark. So I think I'm gonna just pot some ferns there. We have some begonias to plant that I'm gonna take now. The little babies, I don't know, I have so much, but also so little. Do you see what I mean? The plants are so small that they kind of disappear in the soil. Like this is a begonia. This deserves to be seen, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm just gonna play around and I'll show you the result because this is not fun to watch probably. Or maybe it is, let me know in the comments. I got an extra light, just a grow light, to show you what I've done back here. So next to the Melanobolata and in the back there, the Ruellia Macoiana, and actually the Zabrina is back there as well. I planted some of the smaller begonias, and then the tiny one in the middle there, Amphioxus. On the right we have my Chlorosticta, and then the Thelmae, which is a crawler. And then over there in the back we have the Margravia on moss, Micans in the back as well. Here you can see there's some more in the back there planted. I'm excited! Next we'll pot the Tradescantia and also this little guy. I'm really curious what it is now. I think I'm just gonna pot this next to the stick so I don't lose sight of it. So I know that there is something growing here. And these I think we're just gonna place a little bit like this around. Maybe I can put a little bit of soil over the roots. But they're crawlers anyway, so I think they will adjust quite easily. I'm gonna try and spread out the shimmery ones and the more purple ones so that it's a bit nicer spread. Yeah, these are really big, by the way. Look at the leaves. Last are gonna be the pieces of moss. They are quite big, so I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I'm just gonna pull a piece. There is something growing in here as well. I don't know what it is. And then just pop it in. I broke off a Mican's leaf. Whoops. So I guess just push it down and see what happens. I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. This is a big piece. Too big. Too big, too big. Pulling it apart a little bit. It looks so pretty. I want the whole thing to look like moss. I love it when it is no longer soil. So I hope this will grow. No idea if this is the way to do it, but as you know, this is not a how-to video. It's more like an experiment. I have quite a few more pieces. I'm gonna take this piece with the little St. Paulia first. Where do you want to live? I think here. It's a little bit tricky because on the one side I have all the plants on the bottom now, but on the other side I want the moss to be on the bottom as well. So what to do? Moss, moss, moss. Ah, I love it. I want to try and grow some of this moss on things, like on this or on something, on the wall. But I don't think that will work because it needs something moist underneath. This is like the moss itself. It was growing on soil before. So maybe I can try and grow some on like here, for example, where I put some soil and then this on top. But I don't think it's gonna survive. Oh, it looks very cute like this though. We're gonna try. We're just gonna try. We'll see. I'll spray extra on here. What do you think? Do you like this or no? Let's go over to the other side. I would love this to be a little bit more green as well, but it can be done with a smaller piece. Maybe here. But how? Like this. Hey, that was easy. Wait, did you see what I was doing? No. I just plopped this in here and it seemed to fit perfectly. Moss is awesome, but I hope it survives. Moss, 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 everywhere moss. I love it. A thinner piece for along here. I don't think this is how you're supposed to plant moss, by the way, but we're gonna try it. A few days after this, even with my daily spraying, this part of the moss started to look very sad compared to the rest, so I took it down quickly and placed it on a more moist background. One more piece. I'm gonna pull it into different parts and then spread it around because I don't have a big place anymore. The last piece of moss I tied up here with sphagnum moss behind it. Hopefully that will be okay for it. We'll see. Basically, this whole thing is an experiment, and I think it will be for every new terrarium, because I've really noticed that every corner has a different amount of humidity, a different amount of light, a different amount of the fans, because I have fans at the top as well. So it's just testing out which plants will work best where. So it's okay to change things. At least in my experience, I've moved things around, except of course the big plants because they are in their own little holes. But yeah, that would be my biggest advice. Try everything out and see how it goes. I am very excited to have the moss in there. I hope it's gonna grow well, especially the one at the bottom I think will be fine, but at the higher bits, we'll see. This is an ongoing process. As you can see, it's still very empty. I still have a lot of beautiful begonias that I wanna plant, and of course the Hoyas, which I don't know when I will put them in. I also have to install the warmth element still and everything, so it will be a whole series. But yeah, if you want to have any questions answered in part 4, let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. In the meantime, I selected some fun videos for you guys to watch if you want some more planty content. Bye friends!